So I just got a notice of a scheduled hearing for the Department of Workforce UI hearing office, and I told them that this and the letter is right here. Alright, so I'm basically telling the UI Department of Workforce that I apologize. Someone is stopping me, using technology to stop me from speaking and squeezing my chest at the same time. I really apologize if it's hard for you to understand me, but the person who is supposed to it's really difficult for me to speak because they're trying to make me seem confused or to help something bad occur. So if I can't speak and I can't talk and I can't tell you what happened, nothing I say will matter. You understand? It's almost as if they're trying to prevent me from defending it's like you're not being able to speak on your own behalf. So if that happens, things bad, like if you're in a court and you can't speak for yourself and everyone's telling their story that contradicts whatever you could say for yourself, then there's no fight. You can't fight for yourself. So someone is trying to stop me from being able to fight for myself by stopping me from speaking. And they're using implants to do it. They're electrocuting my genitals right now to distract me from being able to think and speaking in my ears as I'm speaking to you. So I am trying to ask the department for evidence that the owner of the UPS store lied to them. So the evidence I'm asking for is the day that the owner of the UPS store told me I was allowed to act however I saw fit outside of his store when I had the issues I spoke to him about in his store. He said, when you walk outside my store, you can do whatever you see fit. You can make whatever decisions you normally make when these things happen. The owner of the UPS store told the Department of Workforce that he omitted that. He left that out of, he never mentioned that second part, what I just told you, to the Department of Workforce. Because then it means his policies changed. His rules that he has for his employees changed. So if he had a normal rule that whenever you're wearing my clothes, you have to follow my rules, whether you're inside my store or not. This dude, when he bends over, he just put his child down over there. He has a baby. But when he did, you can see his pants reach inside of his butt. So while I was like this, I saw him walk this way. And when he did, I looked up. And as I looked up, he bent over. And I could see the crease in his butt. So his shorts were folded into his butt crack. That was that dude right there. But anyway, so the owner of the UPS store left information out. He only told them I was never allowed to confront customers who arrived, who walked in the store and displayed nudity. He said never approach them or say anything to them. Talk to a manager, and the manager will handle the situation. I asked the owner of the that's what he said. But he also added that when you leave this store, you can do whatever you want. And deal with nudity however you see fit. And he said that because I had to tell him people keep bending over and showing me their butts wherever I go. men, and it's men, it's not women. These are dudes, adult males, showing me their butt cracks or just bending over and pointing their butts at me as often as they can. So, like, see, he just turned his back. So I was standing right here, and now his butt's pointed this way. And if I, so I'll move back over here, and hopefully his butt doesn't point back in my direction. So now that I'm recording, he won't do it. But if I wasn't recording, he would turn his hips back my way. Anyways, so the owner of the UPS store told several lies. One of the major, I'm just gonna move entirely over here so that it just makes it extremely obvious if he does intend to point his butt in my direction. So the owner of the UPS store told a major lie, and that was John Lattimore was not allowed to. John Lattimore was not allowed to speak to another employee inside my store, and inside my store. But he changed that lie to John Lattimore was not allowed to speak to an employee. John Lattimore was not allowed to speak to anyone about nudity outside my store as well. That's not what he said to me. He clearly said John Lattimore was not allowed to speak to customers inside my store about nudity. So that's the rule I followed. No matter what, after that day, I continued to follow his rules. So every time I seen a customer who was bending over with their butt displayed, or butt pointed in my direction, what do you call it? See, there he goes. He just did it. Did you see that? They try to sneak and do it, but they're still bending over and pointing their butts at me. But anyways, so he basically said John Lattimore was not allowed to. John Lattimore is not allowed to talk to customers inside my store, and I said, and I never broke that rule about nudity. If he sees nudity, he's supposed to report to managers. So from that day forward, I never didn't listen to that rule, and so now they do. See, he thinks he's smart. Someone just told me in my left ear that the guy moved his baby from the right to the left so that he has an excuse to turn his butt in my direction. But anyway, so the owner of the UPS store said, do not talk to people inside my store about nudity. And if you do see nudity, go tell a manager. I followed that rule to the T. The second part of what he told me was that you are allowed to approach these situations as you see fit, or as you've done in the past when you walk outside the store.
Thank you.
I followed his rules. So see, there you go. There you go. He just did it again. So he's making it very obvious that he's trying to direct his butt in my direction. It's not illegal, but it's sexual harassment in public. And maybe they're deciding to come forward and just do it in plain sight. See, there you go. What did I tell you? See, look at that. Now I'm going to walk back over here and see if this man points his butt at me again. It shouldn't be likely, right? Most men stand still. I haven't moved. I can operate this machine here and here without rotating my butt in any direction. So if somebody was standing there, I guess I could just keep doing this. But I choose not to. I don't point my butt at anybody. See, there he goes. He's trying to turn his hips ever so slightly. Even like a degree will make a difference. You can tell that someone's butt is pointed in your direction by like 1 or 2 degrees. So when someone turns their waist just a slight, just 1 degree. Just imagine you yourself turning your butt 1 degree to the left or to the right. See, watch, he's gonna do something, yay, as he walks out of the store. But anyways, like I was saying, so the owner of the UPS store was who informed me that you're not allowed to approach customers and say anything to them about nudity or about bending over and pointing their butts at you or anything of that nature. Talk to a manager. So I did. That's what I did moving forward. And that same second, in that same sentence, he also said, do not go outside. No, he said, when you leave my store, you don't have to do what I say anymore. You don't have to wait to call the police because I want to talk to you before the police call me. He was very serious about that. He said several times, I don't want you to talk to the police without letting me talk to you first. And he also said, I don't want you to call, I don't want you to talk to the police without me talking to you first. He said, talk to a manager first. When I did speak to a manager, the manager informed me that I was not allowed, to ignore it, to ignore the nudity in the store. And I just told her, that's indecent exposure. It's a crime. It's a crime to have your butt exposed in public. It is. At any time you expose your butt, someone's told me in my left ear, you have to prove it was on purpose. So, you have to prove that the person who exposed their butt to you did it on purpose. And it doesn't have to be, it can be an accident. So his pants could fall down and that's nudity, but you have to prove it was on purpose. So anyways, back to what I was saying. The owner of the UPS store told me that you have to report every time that somebody exposes their butt to you, to the public. As you can see, someone is trying their best to stop me from speaking, and they're using technology to do it. I've tried for 12 minutes to tell you something that should have taken 5 seconds to speak and say, and they're using technology to do it. They're using technology to keep me from explaining myself to you. I don't have issues talking. I never have. Someone is using technology to do that, to make it difficult for me to speak. So, like I was saying, Jack lied. He told the workforce development lies about what's appropriate. What's appropriate? What can you do inside my store? And he also left out what he said I could do outside of his store. Someone just told me to mention that Jack knew you had problems outside of his store. I told Jack several times that people keep pointing their butts at me and exposing their butts to me. Some type of sexual harassment. It's from the gay community. Gay people where I live, keep exposing their butts to me or pointing their butts at me wherever I go. And I told Jack this, and he told me, and I also told him that wherever I go outside of his store, I've said the words, go fuck yourself. I've said that several times. And I said that several times to people around the city of Madison and any cities I travel to, wherever I go. I've said the same words, go fuck yourself. And Jack was aware of it. I told Jack this. And when I told him this, he said, when you walk outside my store, you can deal with these things however you see fit. But while you are in my store, you have to do what I say. We spoke for over 45 minutes. So we had like a very long conversation about the incident that happened inside the UPS store and about the past experiences I've had before I worked for him. So Jack was aware of what the sexual harassment before I started working for him. And once he understood what I said, I think he believed it would be reasonable to expect me to continue to respond the way I have responded in the past to the sexual harassment outside the store. So I think he just let it happen. He just said, all right, when you leave here, you can do whatever you want or continue to fight however you fight outside my store. But when you are in my store, you have to do what I say. So Jack is now trying to turn what happened into a work-related issue. So on this page, I'll show you guys. On this page, there's a page here where, well, there's a couple of lies that were told. I'm trying my best to find them quickly. So the guy at the Department of Workforce Development, his name is crap, what is his name? His name is, okay, he's this statement was prepared by Aaron. So at no point did I ever say that the customer came inside the store. The person was not a customer. He was a individual from the parking lot. The UPS store was not open at 9:26 in the morning. The UPS store didn't open at 10 a.m. The Jimmy John's general manager was outside in the parking lot at 9:27 a.m. So I never told Aaron, ever, that the customer came inside the store and started talking to us. So Aaron is helping the UPS store manager or the UPS store owner by claiming the individual entered the UPS store. Now that individual looks like a customer. He was never a customer. He never entered the store. And he never asked me questions as he walked in. But Aaron, the guy who wrote this report, is trying to help Jack with this narrative. So this person never entered the store, and I made sure that Aaron knew that. Aaron also said that I told him I yelled at the customer in front of other customers at that time, but I didn't use profanity. I never yelled at any customer in the UPS store. I know that's a good way to lose your job. So Aaron lied again. He lied to help the owner of the UPS store make me look like a bad employee. So I never yelled at the customer in front of other customers and I never used profanity. I have never used profanity inside their store. So Jack lied about that. He lied and said I yelled at the customer to make me look like a bad employee, and to help the owner of the UPS store paint me as a bad employee in front of the Department of Workforce. So I sent that letter, the letter I showed you guys, to ask for the footage inside the store at the time this occurred, because there's audio and film of what transpired inside the store, and I'm trying to collect that from the owner of the UPS store. And I'm sure the owner of the UPS store won't allow that to walk out of his store, because it shows the display of nudity, and it also shows the audio conversation I had with the customer. Well, with the customer on this day, the initial warning conversation to not address nudity that began this whole conversation. On that day, because it shows I was polite. I was very polite to the first person that walked into the store and asked me a question. Hey, was bending over, putting something in the bottom of a barrel like this. He was bending over like this, and his butt was clearly out in the open like this, and his pants were falling down. So the guy's pants was falling down, and he was bending to the bottom of the barrel, all the way to the bottom, and his pants were falling down. And Jack McWilliams knows that if a man is bending over that far and his pants are falling down, he's aware his butt is on display to the public. So Jack doesn't want that footage out. And I also said, I also told the customer, hey, sir, can you please pull your pants up? The customer looked at me and said, If you don't like what you see, look somewhere else. And he walked out of the store. The customer then walked back into the store, and I said, hey, can you wait a minute? I'm going to get a manager because I don't think what you did was appropriate. When I went to get the manager, he approached the manager. No, he continued to walk into the store. He dropped his packages off, and the manager arrived. He said, this employee was being very disrespectful to me. He was very mean. He was rude. He was disrespectful. He had no sense of himself, and he was saying things that were inappropriate. So the guy lied, instantaneously told several lies about how I treated him, and he walked out the store. So this dude not only told me to look somewhere else, he also told me that I was lying. I treated him poorly, and the owner of the UPS store took this individual's side. So he said it's not okay to address customers. According to the owner of the UPS store, I did several bad things. So he says that John berated and embarrassed the customer who bent over to set a box down and the top of his buttocks was slightly exposed. So this happened on 10/27/2023. He says it was completely inappropriate to respond. It was a completely inappropriate response. I didn't try to kick him out the store. I said, hey, sir, can you please wait where you are? The man refused to listen to me. He continued to walk inside the store and drop off more packages. I thought his behavior and his response was inappropriate. And I thought it was important to speak to a manager before he was allowed to continue into the business. So what the owner of the UPS store said and what actually happened are two different things. And by a long shot, I did not berate or embarrass a customer. I said, sir, can you please pull your pants up? The customer told me, if you don't like what you see, look somewhere else. So if anybody was berated or embarrassed, it was me. And I think the person wanted to embarrass me, show an employee they have no power. To show an employee they have no power by telling them to look somewhere else. So now I feel embarrassed as an employee of the UPS store, and I feel berated because it's a power trip. Well, the guy is like, like telling another man to look somewhere else is insulting. So the customer who walked inside the store decided to insult me and embarrass me in front of the other customers. So Jack decided to turn this around and say that I berated the customer and I embarrassed the customer. This is the guy's name is Jack McWilliams, and he wrote this report here. He lied. He completely lied to the Department of Workforce Development. And he also said that telling a customer to please pull their pants up was considered harassment. And asking a customer to wait at the front of the store until a manager got here to decide if their behavior was appropriate or not was harassing that customer. Jack also told another lie. He said John will go out of his way to harass people. I have never gone out of my way to harass anyone. I've been telling on people. I don't know how to harass people in public. I don't know how to harass people in private and get away with it. So I wouldn't do it. Usually if you make fun of somebody in public or in private, they will tell on you and you will lose your job. So if I was an employee at the UPS store, I wouldn't try to embarrass or harass anybody to get what I wanted. Or because I wouldn't get away with it. And I don't want to either way. I don't want to do it because I don't get anything out of it. And right now I have to work. I have to work as much as I possibly can to provide for myself. So my best interest is to not harass people, to do your job, and that's it. So Jack has the video and the audio of this incident, and he's not releasing it. Instead, he's telling people lies to protect himself To get out of paying unemployment benefits to somebody who's heterosexual. So Jack hired a bunch of people in the gay community. So his whole crew at the UPS store in Middleton was a part of the gay community. Every single employee he had was gay. I was the only employee working for Jack who was not gay. And I think he doesn't want to pay somebody. Well, he wants to make a point that the gays are above all obligations, all consequences, and they set the standards. So he's lying, and there's no one to stop him because he doesn't have to release the footage. And as long as he lies and there's no one to prove otherwise, there's no consequences. So I never swore. So the small children, there was a child. And the second customer showed up. No, I'm sorry. I arrived to work, and in the parking lot was a GM of Jimmy John's. In front of the GMs of Jimmy John's property, I said, I told the man to go fuck himself, because this is the second time I've seen him bent over, displaying nudity, his butt pointed in my direction as I arrived to work. So I told him to go fuck himself because it was inappropriate. And Jack considers that. Jack says, I was told not to do that at the company. That is not the truth. I was told not to do that inside his store, which I never did. I was told not to address customers inside the store whatsoever. I never did. After that point, any nudity I seen, I never addressed in the store again. So he did it again is a lie. This occurred outside the store, and it had nothing to do with his company. It wasn't on. Jack states that the altercation took place on company property. I said no. This occurred in front of Jimmy John's. So technically, that part of the parking lot belonged to Jimmy John's. He said, did the altercation take place on company time? He said yes. I said no. It was 9:27 a.m. I didn't have to be at work until 9:45 a.m. And the store didn't open until 10 a.m. So I was not clocked in. So this is also a lie. Did the claimant start the altercation? He said yes. I replied no. The man exposed his butt to me. And this is the second time he's done that. So the man is trying to begin an altercation. So a lot of people are smart. They're very smart. They know if a person's bending over and they're pointing their butt at you, they're trying to incite you. They're trying to piss you off. You can claim it was an accident. You can claim it was not purposeful. But this is the second time this has happened. And this person is claiming several people are doing this. So whether you are aware of what he's claimed before, doesn't make a difference. You did the same thing he said other people have done, which now makes him more credible. This story, very credible, that there are people doing this, and he happened to catch you doing it. So this guy was the instigator. So, and Jack is ignoring the sexual harassment in public outside his company because he wants to protect the gay community. So you deny everything that happened prior to the moment. You choose when to acknowledge something happened. So Jack is choosing to acknowledge that the first thing that happened was that I spoke to someone in the parking lot. Jack is refusing to acknowledge that somebody bent over, exposed their butt, and had their butt pointed at me as I arrived to work for the second time. He's refusing to acknowledge that. He's refusing to investigate whether or not that's true. He's just completely ignoring it. And I think it benefits him and the gay community he's trying to protect. So this video is going to end. I'm going to send this fax over with the letter, and hope that the Department of Workforce Development asks for the footage, and they receive the footage of both of what happened in the store and Jack's explanation to me about what's appropriate and when I can address issues outside of his